I want you to look at this position. I want you to evaluate this position, and I want you to tell me if you like the move queen to e5, offering a queen trade in this position. Okay. Hello and welcome back to Lost by Time. We are looking into the forgotten players of the past. Today we are looking at Max Euwe, generally considered the worst world chess champion. Now, he beat Alexander Alekhine in the 1935 World Chess Championship, and we are going to be looking at one of those games today. With the white pieces, we have Max Euwe, and with the black pieces, we have Alexander Alekhine. Max Euwe is a player known for his solid opening approach, and he was a master of the opening, being a person who really contributed to chess theory. So, without further ado, let's continue and look at this game. d4 and e6 are the first moves. And after c4 and f5, we get into the Dutch defense. g3, bishop to b4 check, bishop d2, bishop to e7, bishop to g2, putting the bishop on the long diagonal, fianchettoing it, knight to f6, knight to c3. Short castles, knight to f3, knight to e4. Short castles, b6, trying to create lines, either putting the bishop here, trying to fight here, or you could put the bishop here in some positions. Queen to c2, putting pressure on this e4 knight. Bishop to b7, supporting the knight. Knight to e5, putting the knight in the center of the board. An exchange in the center, an exchange of bishops, and the move queen to c8. And this move, I looked at it and I think it is for the move queen to b7. But in this position, Max Euwe says, this is where you want to put your queen. Okay. How do I prevent you from putting me in check? How do I make this move less powerful? I'm going to push d5. And he does. And the idea of d5 is to clog up this diagonal and make a break in the center. d6, attacking the knight. Knight to d3, e5. King to h1, c6, breaking in the center, attacking this pawn that might be overextended. Queen to b3, this is putting more defense on this pawn on d5. King to h8, stepping off of this diagonal in case of any tactical motifs. f4, e4, knight b4, putting pressure on the c6 pawn, c5, and knight to c2, knight to d7, and knight to e3. Bishop to f6, contesting down this diagonal. So, knight takes f5. Knight takes f5. The idea being that after the exchange of bishops, you're going to have a tempo on this queen, which happens. Queen to b8, attacking the knight, and knight takes e4, attacking the bishop. The bishop goes back to f6. And now I have a question. Do you think it's a good idea to exchange this? Should you play the move knight takes f6? If you said yes, you are incorrect, and the reason for that is because you are getting prevented from pushing e4, and if you play queen to d3, you kind of just get shut down, and it's too slow. So what do you play? You play knight to d2. And the reason why this works is because you're not exchanging the bishop. You're leaving the bishop on the board, and this bishop's looking at the b2 pawn. The b2 pawn's defended, and This diagonal is good. This is a good diagonal to be on, but I'm bringing my knight backwards. I'm going to push e4. I'm going to push e5. I want to take you off of this diagonal, and I want to put you on a weaker position. As well as, remember, when I took this d6 pawn, this is creating a passed pawn on the d file and on the e file. So, g5, e4, g takes f4, g takes f4, and bishop to d4, e5, trying to not allow the bishop to ever come back, while also creating possibilities for this pawn chain being created, or even this pawn chain being created, even though it's much, much worse. But queen to e8. Queen to e8, this immediately you can tell you're going for the g file. You are going to be fighting down here. e6, attacking the knight, and rook to g8. And the immediate question that you ask is, okay, can I take this knight on d7? And the answer is no. And it's not because of queen g6, it's because of the move queen to e2, attacking this knight and threatening checkmate. And after queen to f3 and queen takes d2, rook a to d1, the queen comes to c2, and you're just escaping. This isn't going to go anywhere, and black is winning here. Therefore, after rook to g8, Max Euwe plays the move knight to f3. And after this, we get queen to g6, threatening checkmate on g2, rook to g1, putting more pressure down this g file. Bishop takes rook, rook takes bishop, and queen to f2, knight to g5, and rook to g7. And the idea of rook to g7 is to prevent this from being played because you'd have to take with the queen. Takes with the knight, rook takes, and queen to e3. The idea of queen to e3 being that you are putting your queen on the open file, rook to e7 to take the file himself, and knight to e6, an interception tactic, and putting this knight on the square that is most forward and safe for it. Rook to f8, and we are looking at the position from the intro of the video. Should you play the move queen to e5? Yes, actually, the move queen to e5, when I was analyzing this game, was on my mind from this position. After I got here, I said, okay. Like, I looked at it and I said, this is what I want to get. I want to get queen to e3, and I'm like, okay, he's going to attack me. I'm like, I'm going to move my knight forward. I'm going to get a good piece there. And I'm like, and I'll always have an idea here of having this. I did not see rook f8, but I saw the idea of having the knight on e6, intercepting this, and getting the queen to e5, because after this you have two connected passed pawns, and that is, well, of course, good. So, queen to e3. All this happens, and queen to e5 is played, and it is correct. So the exchange of queens happens. Rook to f5, attacking the e5 pawn. Rook to e1. h6, preventing the knight from ever coming back. Knight to d8. Rook to f2, because rooks are best on the second rank. You're attacking the b2 pawn, preventing the king from moving. e6. Rook to d2, putting it down this file, preventing the move pawn to d6 from being played. Knight to c6, attacking the e7 rook. My apologies, but rook to e8 and e7 being played. And after b5, trying to create some tactics here maybe, you get the idea knight to d8. And the idea being that you are threatening to go here, but you're also threatening to go here, and c5 is hanging. So king to g7 to prevent knight f7 check, but knight to b7 and c5 is falling. King to f6, rook to e6 check, king to g5, knight to d6, and attacking the rook, attacking and threatening the fork. Rook takes e7, and the fork gets played on the board, and on the 47th move of this game, Alexander Alekhine resigns. And with that being said, the video is over. Have a great night, and I hope you have a good time playing chess.